They say that there are 3 levels of conversation. Level 1 is when people talk about other people. Level 2 is when people talk about events. We probably will talk about events. There's nothing wrong with either of those, but this is Level 3 Studio. Level 3 is when people talk about ideas and what is possible. Welcome to Level 3 Studio, a.k.a. Chef Jay's Kitchen, although he's not here, a.k.a. the Innovators Oasis, where we used to feed your body. I'm sorry, we're not feeding y'all. We feed your mind, but we'll feed your soul.
Dang,
That is an improv intro.
I love that. Man.
That is an improv intro.
I'm only getting half
That
of
felt
the
like the
experience.
Soul Train, man.
Without a doubt, feed your soul.
He got soul.
Cool. I am joined by 2 phenomenal men that we will get to know. To my right, Sir Dom Dom with Positive People Posse, Mr. Power of Positivity himself.
Y'all want to hear me rap?
You got some?
Nah.
Oh, okay.
I was ready for today. I was ready for 16.
A hard 16. I'm like, get the beat. Okay. And to his right, Max, creative genius, the Made Mob Messiah.
Wow. Yeah, I appreciate
You
that.
want to break that down?
That was deep.
Oh, okay. I'm flossing on that candy paint. Cool. Gentlemen, thank you so much for being here.
Man, thanks for having me.
man.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah, this is awesome.
I'm surprised neither one of y'all said pinch, poke, yo, me a coke. Is that like an old school thing?
Man,
Did
you
ever say that
like
growing
this
up?
guy's on right now.
Is it you guys said it at the same time?
my thing was like I was like Jinx.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, we are not a like R&B group or
No.
a rap group at all. It looks like, we're sitting here like we're about to pitch our album or something.
Right.
I love
You're
it.
both fly.
Let me get my gold chain
You're
out.
both fly. You both. I like the outfits.
This isn't a rollout.
No.
This isn't a rollout.
Man, so Dom, man, you from KC?
From KC. Actually, I'm going to be real about
Yeah,
this.
talk to me, man.
I'm from the suburbs.
Okay.
I'm
This is an
the,
important dialogue that we need to
I
be
think this
talking
is a
about.
big dialogue
Yeah.
because there's a lot that goes into just understanding that, black people are everywhere. We need to understand that. We need to embrace all types of black people. Blacks doesn't really necessarily mean that you need to be the street dude. And I'm from Olathe, Kansas, and I rep O-Town hard.
O-Town.
Sound.
Yeah, it's
I
actually Olathe, so
I graduated
like Overland
from-
Park, Olathe, so
Oh, okay,
whatever.
okay.
So
I graduated from high school in Olathe.
okay, yeah. What high school?
Olathe North.
Olathe North. I'm Olathe
Same with
East.
my dog Watts in the back. Yes,
Watts.
sir.
I met Watts.
Never heard
earlier.
it called O-Town before. I currently live in Olathe.
I mean-
but
Do you?
Yeah, I live in O-Town.
Okay, you live in O-Town.
Well,
All right.
yeah. Cool. So okay.
A lot of synergy
and you
happening
graduated from.
Olathe East.
Okay, cool. Then stayed in the city. You left. What?
So I did a lot of exploring. So my ADD has always got me everywhere in life, meaning that I went to a lot of schools. So after high school, I went to 5 different colleges. Went to Johnson County Community College. Let's say that right. Went to KU. Went to UMKC. Left Kansas City. Went to UCF. So and then came back. I mean, like I bounced around a lot, mainly because I like experience. I like meeting different people.
Yeah.
And if people's energies aren't conducive for me, I feel like I need
It's
change.
time to split,
Yes,
man. We got to
yes.
start protecting our energy more aggressively in 2019,
that.
man.
Need
Love
that.
it, love it. Max, what about you, big dog?
Born and raised in KCK. Went to Sumner Academy.
Okay.
Shout out to all the smart people in the world. But yeah, graduated from there. Went and tried to play football in community college. Went to Highland. Broke my leg second game. And then
Of your freshman year?
Yeah, first home game. Had family come out. Had an opportunity to, show my talent and broke my leg. So then that dream was pretty much shot right after that.
Did you have like a move right after that, or did it take you some time to figure, okay, who am I going to be outside of football?
So immediately, well, not immediately. I went all through the rest of the season into spring training and everything for the following season. And then during spring training is when I kind of decided that this wasn't going to be something I wanted to continue doing. So then I went to the art program. I was like, I think I'm going to like leave football. Is there any scholarships available here that kind of offer the same type of scholarship that I was getting through football? And ended up getting that scholarship, and that was kind of the route I went. Originally, I wanted to go into like musical production, but the college I signed up to go to play football for didn't offer any kind of thing in that.
Did you not want to leave? You weren't on the same spirit as Dom, kind of running around? You were like, I'm going to stay here and get it done here?
No, I think at that once I committed to go play at Highland, I was like, this isn't like I'm not going to be able to go into music production here, so I looked up other things that kind of interest me, and that's when I found graphic design.
Got you.
And so I was still majoring in graphic design while playing football, but then I just signed up for the art scholarship while I was there after that.
And then you came back to the city right after then, or?
No, after I graduated from Highland, I went right over to KU, continued there, art program.
In the art
there.
program? Okay, okay.
Had some troubles in college where, like swine flu was real big back then, and I actually got like really, really bad, like sick. So I was out of school for like almost a month, and then eventually got dropped from the art program due to some like logistical crap. It's like design program. Got dropped from the program, ended up trying to go like a photography route, and then I actually never finished college.
Okay, okay. Is that something does it matter to you to finish?
No. It kind of mattered to me on the level of like my grandparents were super happy. Like my uncle also went to KU. He didn't graduate, but it was like a more for my family than myself. I feel like I got everything I needed to get out of college.
Yeah.
I got all the experiences that I needed to get, and I got a great job out of it. And I feel like my college experience is done.
You got what you needed out of it.
For sure.
And that's what I feel like should be the narrative of college is like, what are you going for, and what are you going to learn out of it, and how can you apply that instead of go just to get the piece of paper so you can be approved in society.
No, for sure.
So both of you having multiple college experiences, your college experience, like how would you feel we should be trying to guide those coming up? Take the path of college? Do you not? Like, where do you stand based on your experiences?
I think for me, it was just adolescent stage. I mean, I was just trying to figure things out. Like, I didn't know what I really wanted for myself. And so the influence of your friends, the things that you do, I mean, you move as a tribe. You move as a pack. You do the same stuff. And I constantly was kind of putting my interest on the back seat.
Did you know what your interests were at the time?
I always wanted to do something business. I always wanted to be in business, but I didn't know specifically what I wanted because I was more consumed on my friendships and like, hey, we're running together. So,
right.
Things happen in that process. Like I had some really good friends that I thought were really good friends. Then you find out, they're pretty shady. Like I've got this scar on my face right here. So, just long story short, me and this dude grew up for a long time, like from junior high all the way through our first year of college. I had a beer bottle smashed over my face, 300 stitches. That like changed the whole dynamic of everything because I wasn't doing what I wanted to do.
You thought like I shouldn't have even been in that situation to begin with.
I mean, your mom tells you shouldn't hang out with these types of people. And then, she's right. She says, I told you so.
Turns out to be mom was right.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
and so that impacted me. Yeah.
Oh, I realized my mom is rarely wrong at this point.
Man, that's really tough to really to learn because, people are looking out for you, but it seemed like it was overprotection at one point in time.
Yeah.
But I learned that hey, like not everyone covets friendship and love the same way as you do, and so that changed me to a different path. So I value more relationships, and I started doing whatever I really want to do personally,
and then building relationships around
exactly.
So how does that play out for both of you today? I know you both are very deep in your creative pursuits. So take time to explain what that is to you. And then how do you cultivate the circle of people that fill you and that fuel you to push your passions?
Yeah.
So I guess for me, like, luckily, I've been able to be blessed to come into an organization, a situation where all of the guys around me are following the same pursuit. We all came into the situation of becoming part of this like mob mentality where we don't necessarily know where we're going in life, but we know that together we can get there faster and stronger than we would individually. And so I think everyone around the table had their own dreams and had their own ideas of what they wanted to do, but slowly along the way kind of found each other. And now it's like this collective of people that are just, there's no other thing that we want more than trying to make it or trying to find
what's the collective energy that we could all really produce together. So how many people would you say?
Right now there are, I think, 8 members of MADE. And there's people that have come and gone. Yeah. But yeah, right now there's 8 of us that really are kind of...
For the one person watching who doesn't know what MADE is.
So MADE is it's a clothing organization here, or a clothing brand here in Kansas City. It was founded back in 2013 by 3 individuals, And slowly along the way, there's been different people that came and have gone, but now there's about, I think it's 8 or 7, one of the two. But
All right, someone's getting cut. Whoever you are, the 8th man.
Somebody's getting cut
Someone's
after
not-
this.
Right, they didn't know it yet.
But yeah, like ultimately what we're trying to do here in Kansas City is define what Midwest streetwear feels like. So everyone kind of has an ideology in their head that is part of the culture, what, streetwear is like in New York, what streetwear is like in the West Coast. And those are two very different looks, two very different things, but they embody the cultures that they're a part of. And so for us, it's like we don't want to try and emulate something that we're not. Let's stay true to our core. We're all Midwest, the blue collar mentality, hard work, and all those kinds of things. So how can we translate that into streetwear? And it's really, what does everyone around you in the Midwest look like? What do they wear? Who champions that? And it's really trying to find that and apply that to clothing.
How does that idea and your background and your passion for art, how do those come together?
I think for me, the biggest thing is it's taking something from concept to creation, and that's the coolest thing about what I've done and what I've continued to do is like coming out of college. I went and worked for a company that had like licensing for Hurley and Nike. And so being able to take something that never existed, an idea, and now I see people wearing it on college campuses or, seeing it being shot on Facebook or Instagram or whatever the case may be. Being able to take something that never existed and then months, weeks, whatever later, it now exists is so dope to me.
Right.
And so like this jacket I'm wearing now is part of our spring collection, a little plug, but
yeah, out now.
yeah, but
Mademob.com.
Mademob.com, man.
Go check it.
Go check it out. But being able to take something that never existed, that was then a drawing on a piece of paper, put into the computer, exported, people cutting and sewing these like little pieces of fabric, printing, and now it exists.
Just
and
seeing
now
it come
seeing
together.
all these people around me wearing it, it's just that's what fuels me.
Dope.
Yeah.
Dom,
Love
as a curator of the culture, man, as in your own right, how would you just define your creative pursuits, man, and what's it like trying to bring all that energy together?
Yeah, I think, first of all, people really want to know what you do. I feel like a lot of people ask that when you get introduced and, through the osmosis, your energy, people really want to know about who you are. And so how I cultivate that, it's really about all those relationships that have been brought to me. I try to project my positivity out there, and for whatever reason, it's a magnetic attraction where you attract the same types of people. We're all a little bit, I think that we possess some type of energy, and you will attract that with certain people. And so the people around me typically, we believe in this type of culture. We actually are working and striving towards something. And so I'm one of those in-depth people where I like to know about my circle. And so we have honest conversations. We talk about, the life struggle. We talk about the things that we have to go through. And it's not always positive. And, like that negative and positive things, like we're all just trying to work through it.
Right.
Honestly, none of us know shit. We just
Facts.
Biggest fact.
I'm just trying to fail faster than everyone else. That's my goal.
Yeah, and we fell forward, but we're sensitive to the things that are going on in our lives, and that helps us build from there. And so, I just like having people around that are intelligent emotionally, but also intelligent in a way where they're striving towards something. And so, we just try to breed off of that. I'm not the leader of anything. I like working with people. It's all about collaboration, conversation, and, just really just building bigger and better things.
Yeah.
Because when you and I sit down and we talk, we spawn more ideas.
Yeah.
We spawn more
Well, that's
like
but a
positivity.
big part of that is trust. Trusting. Like I had a pretty good conversation with the guy I'm working with today about he was hesitant to pitch an idea to me because he said, "Oh, this has burned me in the past," and it wasn't anything. It boiled down to what happened in the past was someone wanted ownership over the thing, right? Rather than focusing on what's the point of us doing this. I don't care who gets the credit. What are we trying to get to? So, how do you work through those things? How have y'all? Where it's like, are we talking about the issues, or are we talking about like the goal that we're all going for, and not getting hung up on that? the selfishness that it makes us human at the end of the day. That's been a big growth for me, is like focus, like you said, like we all want this thing. We have little nuances of differences we want. But trying, like, how do y'all work through those, especially like a team of 8 people who work together every day? Like, how do you work through those nuances of trying to stay focused on the bigger picture?
A lot of fighting, a lot of arguing, a lot of disagreements happen, but
Gotta be real about it.
yeah, I mean, it's just about being honest. You know what I mean? Like, if I know that you're being honest and that you have no like personal,
Like, you're just speaking your truth
right,
about it. Yeah.
then I can't be mad at you. I have to appreciate that honesty. And moving forward, like if everyone just comes to the table with 100% honesty, you know, there can't be no.
How has that growth happened for you?
It's been a challenge because I think as a creative, I think most creatives have like this part about them that they're pretty anal about what, you know, I need it done this way or I want it done this way. But you have to open yourself, open your heart to be able to accept other things and understand that what you think might be right is not always right. And
Or you just seeing one angle of the whole.
right.
Yeah.
Right.
Takes a lot of growth, though, man.
So is it like you guys have a lot of Chiefs, not a lot of Indians?
Yeah.
So is there a consensus thing that you guys have to do, or is it more like
it's been a constant conversation of making sure that you hold people accountable for the role that they fill.
That's what I was going to ask you. So what have y'all put in place so that you grow and not just return to the same thing each time, you know, but that it's an elevated now conflict, and then the next one is an elevated conflict?
So I think for a long time, it was in everyone's mindset that this was just like a side hustle, you know.
Okay, right.
Like what Ruby said earlier, like that was my 9 to 5, this is my 5 to 9.
Right.
But for us, it's like we had to get out of that mindset of it being a side hustle because now, you know, people are putting livelihoods on the line. You know, it's a real thing, and so now when we came to that that realization, then we had to have a conversation about direct roles and responsibilities. What are you in charge of? You know, making sure that you know people kind of have a level of accountability.
So you guys have like a written description for every role?
Have y'all gotten that? Do y'all?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We have written descriptions about roles and responsibilities, who to go to for certain things, because it makes sure there's a level of efficiency across the board.
Yeah. What's up, Don?
You know,
How and give me context. You said 2013 is the organization that you're speaking of founding, and where would you Maymob.com, 2 B's for you? Positive People Posse.
Yeah.
The first question I want to ask you, I'll come back to. I want to stay on point. How old would you say the organization is, and what does building that cohesion look like?
Well, first of all, you know, with anything, like I don't know when you guys actually were established, but in your mind,
Right, it's been there.
it's been there for a while. And
Yeah.
so this has been kind of a heartbeat thing for me when I couldn't even get started on this because I was actually, you know, this corporate guy. You know, I had this great job. You know, I was in charge of 23 states, sales position, making, you know, well into 6 figures, doing really well. And then
but okay.
I was working for somebody. I was working for somebody.
At some point, you got to
me.
ask, what's the trade-off?
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Director of Sales was my title, regional VP. So
he's
I felt
flexing.
really.
Right,
Yeah,
it's a couple.
oh, he said, "Don't be humble here."
Right.
Okay, so I did really well
It wasn't
with
worth
that,
it,
but
though?
you know what? It was. I was thriving. So in that time, I thought that you know this is where I need to go. I'm going to stay on course. But at that, you know, and then the rug got ripped underneath me, and they couldn't afford me anymore. And so, you know, good companies, bad companies, sometimes they have growth issues. So that was last year. And then from that point on, I started 2 different companies. I started a company with financial factoring where I'm helping small businesses with their growth problems by, you know, giving them cash advances. And then my second company which is really my passion and something I really want to do for the rest of my life, Positive People Posse. And
PositivePeoplePosse.com.
And that started 2018. So we hit the ground running, knowing that we weren't going to just blow up and explode, and it really hasn't exploded yet. It's all concept still. It's still running like a business, a heartbeat to give back, but the way we give back is through content and resourcefulness. And so we started back in August of 2018. And since then, we've been able to actually like get a nice little draw on audience, and it's just great seeing that feedback. But you know, I'm a person who likes to share with people, And so, yes, I don't call myself the CEO or anything. I don't feel like it's even on that stage yet. I really call myself the life enthusiast because I truly bring life into this. And I want people to bring their life of, just creativity. Like I want people to feel like they have a voice. But, when it comes down to it, yeah, you're going to have some arguments, even if you're having a positive message with something like that, because we're all trying to get to the same end goal. And I'm not one of those to just try to keep my secret ingredients and stuff like that. I like to share my knowledge. I don't think that, I can protect my energy, but here's the thing. I don't share with everyone unless you ask. I feel like, hey, look, I'm willing to share my knowledge because it's going to help you do whatever it is. And if you want to take my idea, go ahead and take it. You don't have the same energy as me.
You ain't gonna execute
so
it.
You don't know my full
execution.
execution. So you know how that is. It's like you see a design one way, but how can we improve everything?
Yeah.
Everything's collaboration.
Yeah.
We walk down the street, you're like, I know we can do something like that.
Yeah.
So
Dude, Google is out there, dog.
Yeah.
The shortage of ideas is not the problem.
all the information's out there.
So what are the things you're up to, man? And I've been following you, man. I'm following your work, but go ahead, take the time to explain, man. Like,
Yeah.
what's some of the things you guys are doing?
Yeah, a lot of people don't know what we're doing, but it seems like we're kind of all over the place, which is by design. There's different segments for everything because we want to, grab a different audience. And so, yes, we have apparel, and you can buy it at positivepeopleposse.com. But on top of that, what we're really doing with our apparel is just telling stories. And so how we tell stories is through content. So storytelling is really important. So if we do, we have a segment called Taco Talks. We sit down with entrepreneurs, business-minded people, and also people that are just enjoying life with a positive message. And positivity is the most corny thing to some people, but I believe that it doesn't have to be corny. Yes, I cuss. Yes, I rap in my car in the shower, and I do a whole bunch of weird things. And I go through the struggle and whatever. There's a lot of things I can tell you about positivity that doesn't sound so positive, but it really is. And we do that through our storytelling. So we're developing a lot of content that is centered around, the concept of positivity. Mm-hmm. And we don't have to say positive about it all the time.
Right.
We don't want to dilute something down and make it look like rainbows and kittens and all this.
That's what I was going to ask you, is with the
stuff.
brand with the word positive in it, that I can feel like a lot to live up to at times when shit's just hitting the fan.
Yeah, and things that you have to work through a process. We're figuring out a lot of back-end stuff in order to get us moving forward to be more sustainable. So this is growing pains. I've got a lot of money into this, but for me, it doesn't feel like it's a waste because where we're gonna go. And
you really seem like can I like you said, can I take something up here? Mm-hmm. Can I make that shit a reality in front of me? Max, y'all have been like y'all's ability to storytell is getting really good, man. Is it intentional? Are you guys like really how has your storytelling as a brand developed?
So for me and for the entire team, really like the ability to tell the story of each collection or each capsule that we do is what gives that capsule collection, whatever, it gives it the life.
Right.
And so, you can tell the difference between whether or not you did the best job that you could to tell the story of this said collection, whether or not it's received as well. Mm-hmm. There was collections that we've done that behind closed doors, putting all these ideas out, it's like we could have told a great story here, but maybe we dropped the ball a little bit. And so over time, it's like we have to do a better job of storytelling, being able to inform the audience of everything that we're trying
What's the why?
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm. What is that for us, this space, I would call it pre-production, but just that prep process. What's that prep to, as you were mentioning earlier, like you got to start way back. Like y'all thinking of spring next year. Like what's your prep process look like right now?
Just a reference point with the Positive People Posse Taco Talks presented by Mizuma Credit Union. Another plug.
Mizuma got the plug.
We actually
Mizuma right now.
Right.
We actually put in a lot of work before we even got the sponsorship, and so it was really all concept and so a lot of storyboarding. You take this broad idea and then you try to make it simple so people can digest what this is. And so, we start way well in advance, but, we're working on, content when we're developing these ideas and how can we simplify and make something better and be more impactful. So, there's a process to everything, and we still don't try to get so consumed in making it feel like it's going to be, a corporate feel or whatever. But, you have to write out a plan. Everything needs a process. I don't care how creative you are. It's nice when people all can be on the same page, so we know our roles and responsibilities, knowing that someone's going to be there, they're going to fulfill their job and their obligation to bring their best. And so, yeah, I mean, when it comes down to it, I like that you guys have like written descriptions and stuff like that and know how we can keep people accountable. And so all of that, it comes down from a chain of command, but it's one idea, and then how can we make it better as unity,
Yeah. Prep, Max, what's the prep process?
Prep. So I guess I can give an example based upon like one of the collections that we'll be having coming up the end of this year is kind of focused around the idea of like I said, Midwest streetwear, but it's like let's champion the workers of America, kind of like the Carhartt looks and things like that. So we go back to the drawing board, like who are the workers of America? What does it mean to be blue collar? What does it mean to have dirt under your fingernails at the end of the day? And going back and finding reference photos of what people back in the 40s, 50s, 60s wore in these types of environments, taking inspiration from how did the collar look on this jacket that this guy was wearing. Let's see if we can implement that collar into this piece that we have kind of a body for already. And, oh, look at this pocket. Maybe it's a wider pocket and it's like, has a scoop on the bottom. Like, taking the details of garments and things from the past and being able to implement it to better tell your story in the collection is kind of our process. And so it starts at Pinterest and Google, and then we put it all in these like mood boards together, go over it as a presentation. Like, what do you guys think of this? What do you guys think of this? And then the collection slowly starts to come together, pulling parts and pieces away from different things.
Where do you guys fall in terms, having an organization a few years farther down the line is much different than like being in a position where you're just trying to get it out. But where do you guys fall in like the idea of like, especially as artists, especially as graphic design, like perfect over like getting it out, like putting it out and tasting it in the market? And
that's tough because for me, like I am super Mr. Perfect guy. Like, I'll spend like 8 hours on something and then like come back to it the next day like, man, that's trash.
start all over.
I wasted 8 hours of my life doing that.
You don't feel like it was a growth through the 8 hours?
No, I mean, that's how you feel. Like,
Right.
I just wasted all that time. But yeah, there's definitely growth because now I know what doesn't work.
Yeah.
But.
So what's getting it out like? Like, do you just get it out as fast as you can? You're going to make sure, you're going to wait till it's in your mind, it's perfect.
Once I feel like, there's been, I had this conversation with, because we have an intern on right now, and I had this conversation with him the other day when I was taking him home. It was like, I never want to put something out where I'm like, yeah, that's cool, let's go. Like, if you have that feeling about what you're doing, how do you think
like you shouldn't be doing?
How do you think the consumer's going to feel?
Right about that.
That's cool. Like, I never want anybody to say that about something I've done, and so
that's fair. Does that get in the way though of like making progress? Or you feel like patience then? Like you feel like you got all the time you need?
Well, in our industry, we have to work ahead. So we have time, but you can't take forever on something, obviously. So, it's just this balance of maybe I might not like it because there's 4 of us on the creative team. So I may not like something or I may feel some type of way about it, but it's a team. So we all have to vote. We all have to like, if the consensus is, let's move forward with it.
Then you've learned, this is the growing pains you was talking about. You've learned to say, okay, we moving.
We move as a team. We move as a
unit. Do you ever say, I told you so?
At the result of it. That's a good question, though. What do y'all check back to? And I want to hear you on terms of is perfection needed, but what do you check back to say, to analyze what you've created, what you've produced, and how people responded to it?
I've been a part of like fraternities and different organizations, and so you have notes, things that you can kind of look, take notes on meetings and things that you can kind of check back on. So it's like, being able to kind of like analyze a collection after it's gone out and it's had its time in the market. Like we were just having this conversation last meeting. It's like, oh, well, this piece is selling really great, but this one that we really thought would do well isn't. Why? Compare and contrast. Did we tell the best story on this piece that we could? It's all these types of different things, but you have to have a system of checks and balances. I can hold you accountable to hold me accountable. You know what I mean? And so that's kind of like the system or the process. It's like after it's kind of had its moment to be in the market, like let's look back on it.
Look back and see how I did.
Yeah.
Dom, are you a perfectionist?
Yeah, to some degree, but I always feel like a lot of times nobody cares sometimes.
Right.
You know?
There's so much
Like,
information that
you realize that
it
some
depends
people
what
don't
game
see
you're trying to
those
play.
things,
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I've actually learned. I used to be more of a perfectionist. There's certain things that I work on, like I got to perfect that my bank account is going to pay these bills, So, but other than that, like I try to just like continue to grow. Yes, you refine, but I think that there's a beauty in the stuff that isn't perfect. Like I started to realize that, and I started to believe that because there's just there's no, why do we want to be perfect so much?
You definitely can't
know what
dwell
I mean?
on it. You know what I
You
mean?
can't dwell on it. And it actually, I am particular about certain aesthetics, and I'm just like, I don't like the way it makes me feel. So I do believe that. But overall, like sometimes it might be the small thing that people just don't see.
Yeah.
And we just need to move on, move forward, and just continue to just like do more.
Does the speed,
Not get held
does
up.
speed stress y'all out? Like how quickly things go and come and move, and especially like this is something I personally stress about in terms of creating content. Is like there's so much content.
Yeah.
That like like is this one piece of content? By the time this thing I type it till I upload it, 5, 10, 20,000 pieces of content have been uploaded. Like how do you?
This is the realest thing I will say about social media. For me, I actually struggle with posting things on social media. I don't necessarily want to be seen as over posting or whatever, because that's really just not my personality. And so I actually have to force myself to actually post way quicker and be more relevant. And so it's not that like I'm my own worst critic. I just wish people would just be able to just all kind of interact with one another without being so social media driven. And so I think there's more pressure on that for me with with how fast and rapid things are. People can only consume so much.
Right.
And so if I post 2 or 3 things in one day, I feel like I'm overwhelmed, because then you have to engage with people, and you want to be able to make people feel like they know you and interact with them. And so that's tough for me. I want to interact, but I'm always working on so much stuff. So at some point in time, it's going to be nice to just get someone to fulfill that role and them actually be passionate about it. But I think for me, it's that fast-pacedness is like I'm being effective because I'm there. I'm doing a little bit of scheduling, but most often I'm the one who's doing that work, and I'm engaging with people, and I want to. At some point in my day, I can like respond. Other days, I just can't. I'm feeling like the weight of the world's there because there's all these people that you're connected with, So that's the only thing that really gets me. But I love making content. I love being like, my creativity's here.
Yeah,
Let's do this. Oh, this is possible. We can do that.
Yeah.
Let's make that happen. But
Likewise.
it's just tough to be a part of every bit of the process, and it's impossible to actually be a part of every bit of the process and make that really good and quality.
Yeah. The speed at which people consume media is just it can't be good for anybody. But the speed of which say people, how would you describe it? Is it byproducts? Do you guys look at yourself as having a strong media perspective? Like, how do you want people to consume what you're doing?
So from the person that's actually creating helping to create the content that goes out, and part of that perfectionist mindset where it's like, I'm looking at a photo, it's like, oh, well, this like tree is coming out the back of his neck, like in the frame, like we should have been more attentive there. And it's just like overanalyzation, you take too much time, and because as a creative, like I spend 4 or 5 months with the collection, and so when I get the final product, I might not like how this arm worked or whatever the case may be, but the majority of the public isn't really going to care nor like notice it. And so that's kind of the same with any content that goes out. Is like you might have realized when you're looking back on a clip that, oh, why did my hands look like this? But the majority of the public's not really paying attention. It's just you, because
we're gonna analyze ourselves.
Yeah, you're sensitive to it. Yeah.
Yeah. So the speed at which y'all put out collections, I feel like has ramped up a lot. Like y'all solid every season now, but I feel like at one point it was maybe twice a year, or
so
like how's the speed of that changed?
I think, back in the day, I think it was just whenever it was ready, whenever we felt ready to do it. But at this point in time, it's like we have 4 seasonal collections, but then in between those seasonal collections, we'll have like things that we call capsules, where it's very storytelling driven. It's very thematic in how it's presented. And so,
Why has that speed of which you all put things out? Why has it changed?
you have to stay on people's mind in today's world, you know. And I think that
Yeah, if
that's
you're not
part
on
of it.
social, you're not
Yeah,
working,
like if
right?
you're not active, you're not. But that's part of it. But also, like, there's such a passion inside of us. So
You
it's
just
like
want to create.
we just want to create too.
Yeah.
So it's just, you know, you create these things, you make them limited just so that things don't have to live on forever, you know. And then that's part of the cool thing about it too, is like we keep things limited so that we don't have to like sit there and try and promote it for 8 months.
What do you mean?
So you don't produce as much of it, you know what I mean? So like,
Oh, the clothing.
yeah,
So
so
that you're not trying to get things off the shelves over 6
over,
months.
yeah, hopefully it'll sell out fast, and that was
On to
that,
the-
and we
yeah.
move on, you know?
Yeah. That's a lot of trust in your creativity.
Yeah.
Because then you're like, hey, we can create something new. While other people are like, hey, if this is working, let's try to double down and keep buying. And
Yeah, we're forever inspired, you know.
Yeah.
Like you said, you know, be walking down the street and you're like, man, I think I can do something
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that,
yeah.
whatever the case may be. So, yeah, I always tell people like I trust myself to do anything before I could trust anybody else.
Facts.
And you know that might be an egotistical, selfish mentality, but I always understand that I have to be able to trust myself before I can trust anybody else, because that's just how else am I going to, you know, worry about getting something done? You know, if everybody in this room left, I'm the only one that's left, so I got to be able to trust myself.
I got to be able to get the job
Yeah.
done still.
Yeah.
Impact.
Respect to that.
Do you think consciously about the impact you want to make?
Constantly, you know, I think that my impact, it really starts with me, and I want other people to see that other aspect of how they can improve their lives and better their lives. You know, there's a lot of wisdom that came with a lot of trial and error and, you know, traumatic things that happen. And so we need to embrace, you know, some of our faults and some of the things that have happened in our past in order for us to just speak on experience and grow from it. You know, because it's just like constantly people just thinking, oh, the world is out to get me all the time. It seems like someone's always thinking like, another Monday. Okay, mundane Mondays. Like, I'm just like, Monday doesn't have to be like that. You know, like I just know that on Monday, I'm ready to get to work. You know, I'm ready to make the most out of my life. And so if I can impact people to actually just see the world a little bit differently, because positivity is a choice. And so if we can actually, you know, promote people to understand like, hey, look, you know, like this is what you're doing, not what you're doing wrong, but this is how you can look at it totally different. You know, there's nothing's matter of fact, meaning that, you know, you said, oh, this person, they out to get me. They said this, and this. Like, that's exactly how they said it. Like, hold on a second. Like, that's what you saw. That's what you heard. That's how we interpreted it.
Right.
And then making all these expressions and whatever, it's like, no, just take back. Let's be a little bit unbiased. How can we actually work together? Because in every aspect of life, we need people. People will make you angry. People will make you happy. People will make you sad. People will make you just joyed for life. And so my impact is to, when they go to Positive People Posse, hey, are we doing something positive to make people feel good or give a different perspective? I was talking to Ruby about, you know, what she does with her, you know, nonprofit organization. When we hear stories, it opens up your mind a little bit because you can be a little bit more sensitive to what other people are going through. And if we can do more storytelling in that capacity, but also in a funny, dumb, humored way, like we're bringing happiness and different perspectives. And so I want to impact on a community that's not just local, but it's global, meaning that we can talk to somebody in a different country. We've been connecting with people in like Ireland and stuff, like just hitting the DMs, like, I really appreciate what you're doing. And like, even like France and stuff, like we got a small following right now, like 2,000 followers or whatever, but I appreciate every single one of them that are actually engaging with it, and then we'll get to them in time when we can.
Dude,
but
that's what I really hope.
We're trying to impact in happiness, like to a different way. It's not like just smiling like this.
That's what I really hope is that our generation, but I think it'll be like the ones that are like 13 to 18 right now, like really, really, really stop caring about the numbers. that they realize, because for them it'll be the world they've always known.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean? I think for us it's a new phenomenon. Like,
It is.
500,000 for like, but I think when it becomes like the normalcy, then it's like, okay. I'm praying, right? Hopefully we get back to one by one. I care about you. I care about you. Max, what about you, man? Do you think about impact? Is there anything like particular you want to make an impact by doing this work?
So I think about impact on a very more, like you're saying, individual, like a micro level of like, as long as I can impact the people around me and they know that, you know, when my time is up, that I've given it my best, I've, you know, provided and done whatever I could and the most that I could for them, then, you know, my impact is cemented through that. You know, the person that's had the most impact in my life, my mom passed away last March, so she had the most impact in my life, you know, like understanding what it means to be selfless in everything that you do and everything that you think of. Like, my mom has always been like the most impactful to me. And so, yeah, it's very individualized. It's very micro. Like, I could try and be leaving a legacy of streetwear and all of that, but ultimately it's like, am I making an impact on my daughter's life? Am I being the best husband I can be? Am I, you know, being the best brother or friend? You know, it's more micro than it is this idea of trying to be this Steve Jobs or whatever the case may be. Yeah, if that happens, you know, so be it. So be it. But right now I have to focus on, can I be a great dad? Can I be a great husband, brother, friend?
I love it. Gentlemen, one piece of advice you would leave behind to improve the experiences of tomorrow's generation?
Man, you know, don't take yourself so serious all the time. There's a time and place for it. You know, be weird, be you. We're all weird. That's all I got.
The one piece of advice that I would give tomorrow's generation is just love the next person, man. Like, when it comes to positivity, like, love conquers all. Like, all these, like, the ideation of, like, where the nation's at and where the world's at, of borders and black versus white and all this, like, all this could just go away if we just cared about the person that is right across from us.
Solid. This has been another episode of Level 3 Studio, a.k.a. Chef Jake's Kitchen, a.k.a. The Innovator's Oasis. Peace.